In the silence of Antarctica, some believe a secret was buried, a forgotten expedition, a hidden diary, a warning from beings not of this surface world. In 1947, Admiral Richard E. Byrd led one of the largest military missions to the frozen South. But what did he really find beyond the ice? This is the story of mystery, secrecy, and a journey beyond known reality. Welcome to the diary beneath the ice, the Byrd expeditions. And remember, not all maps show what lies below. Asterisk the year was 1946. World War II had just ended, and tensions of a new global rivalry were already rising. While most of the world tried to rebuild, the U.S. Navy launched a massive and highly unusual military operation, Operation High Jump. It was the largest expedition ever sent to the Antarctic. Over 4,700 men, 13 ships, and 33 aircraft were deployed. Under the command of Rear Admiral Richard Evelyn Byrd, officially, the mission was to train troops for cold weather and scout new territory. But the scope and secrecy suggested otherwise. Byrd was no stranger to ice. He had already completed multiple polar flights and was hailed as a hero of the skies. But this time, something was different. He was quieter. Observers noted that he seemed distracted, as if he were searching for something more than icebergs and frost. The fleet departed in December 1946 as they entered Antarctic waters. The radio silence began. Reports were tightly controlled. No journalists allowed. Strict military protocol. Some ships split off into strange patrol routes. Rumors began among the crew, some whispered of UFOs, others of tunnels beneath the glaciers. Then came the flight. February 1947. Byrd boarded his plane, a long-range aircraft with a small crew. He was meant to fly over the South Pole and return by the evening, but when he returned, he didn't speak to the press. He didn't debrief the crew, isolated himself. What happened during those hours in the sky? Decades later, a secret diary surfaced, allegedly written by Byrd himself, hidden away by the government and published anonymously. Its contents would shake the foundations of everything we thought we knew about the frozen continent. In this account, Byrd claims that during that flight, he entered another world. Asterisk, the so-called secret diary of Admiral Byrd appeared decades later. First leaked through fringe publishers and later spread across the internet in conspiracy circles. Many call it a hoax, a myth, fabricated nonsense. But for those who believe, the diary is a confession, a suppressed truth that slipped through the cracks of military censorship. Written in Byrd's voice, the diary begins simply, "I must write this in secrecy and obscurity. It concerns my Arctic flight of the 19th day of February in the year of 1947. But Byrd didn't just fly over snow and ice, according to the diary. As his plane approached the pole, strange things began to happen. The external temperature rose. His compass began to spin erratically. Radio contact failed, he wrote. Ahead are mountains. Beyond the mountains, more green hills. It is not possible. Then trees, forests, where none should exist. Rivers, mammoth-like creatures roaming vast plains. Byrd describes a landscape untouched by the modern world. Warm, thriving, alive. As they crossed this strange land, his plane was intercepted. Not by enemy aircraft, but by flying discs, shimmering and silent. They were taken aboard in it by force. But as guests, Byrd wrote of being guided into a glowing underground city. The beings there were tall, pale, and peaceful. They spoke perfect English. He called them the Ariani. According to them, they had watched humanity for centuries. They were concerned about our nuclear ambitions, about war, about what we were doing to the planet. They delivered a message on that Byrd was instructed to bring back. But when Byrd returned, his mission changed forever, and so did he. Asterisk, the Ariana beings from within the Earth warned Admiral Byrd that humanity was on a dangerous path, they told him. Of the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and how those ripples of destruction had been felt even beneath the crust of the planet. Their message was clear: stop nuclear warfare, or suffer consequences not just above but below. Byrd claimed they said, "Your world is at the brink of great destruction. The balance is shifting. We have let you observe. Now, you must return and want to win." Speak, he was told that their civilization lived in peace for thousands of years, powered not by combustion, but by something else: vibration, light, magnetism. They lived in harmony with the earth, not against it. Byrd asked why they had remained hidden. "You were not ready," they answered. He was given a tour of what appeared to be crystalline buildings, gardens that shimmered without sunlight, and transportation devices that floated above the ground. He described it all with a weaned disbelief. Then, as suddenly as it began, the visit ended. He was escorted back to his aircraft, unharmed but changed. Back in the outer world, his radio worked again. The compass realigned. Within hours, he was back with his fleet. But something inside him had shifted. He attempted to share what he'd seen, and that's when the silence began. Asterisk upon returning to base. Byrd was immediately debriefed, but this was no routine procedure. He was escorted to a secure room and held for several hours under watch. According to accounts by his crew, he seemed disturbed, shaken. He had aged. Byrd was forced to sign non-disclosure agreements, and portions of the expedition were classified at the highest levels. Operation High Jump was cut short. The entire fleet returned weeks earlier than scheduled without explanation. When journalists asked Byrd about the mission, he gave cryptic answers. In one interview with a Chilean newspaper shortly after returning, Byrd stated, "The United States should prepare to defend itself against enemies that come from the polar regions." What did he mean? That quote would fuel decades of speculation. Some believed Byrd had encountered remnants of Nazi technology hidden in Antarctica, popular theory at the time. Others were convinced he had crossed into another dimension. Whatever happened, Byrd stopped speaking publicly about it. He returned to the US, resumed military service, and lived quietly. The alleged diary was never published during his lifetime. And the official story of Operation High Jump remained just that, official. But whispers spread, and those who believed knew there was more. Far more, years. Past, Byrd continued to serve in the Navy. He even led a second expedition to Antarctica. In 1955, Operation Deep Freeze. But those who had known him before said he was different now, more withdrawn, less trusting. According to some fringe researchers, Byrd privately shared pieces of what he had seen with close confidants. Some say he feared for his life. Others claim he wanted to reveal the truth, but was bound by forces greater than the military. Unofficial transcripts began to surface. One reads, "There is a world beneath us. I have seen it. I have walked within it. They are real, and they are watching." But these words never appeared in any public speech. No government source ever confirmed them. In fact, Byrd's later years were marked by silence and intentional erasure, perhaps. And then, in 1957, Byrd died. His death was ruled natural, but with him, many believed, died the last living link to a secret world beneath the ice. However, not everything remained buried. Asterisk, following Byrd's death, the legend took on a life of its own. The hollow earth theory, a fringe idea that the earth is not solid but contains inner worlds, found new momentum. Byrd became its unwilling prophet. Books, radio shows, and underground publications connected Byrd's name to secret civilizations, UFO sightings, and energy technologies suppressed by world powers. The alleged Ariani were now part of a broader mythologion where Earth was not what it seemed. In some versions, the poles were gateways to inner realms. In others, ancient beings lived in harmony deep below us, escaping from surface corruption. Theories varied, but Byrd's flight was always the turning point. A single man, crossing an invisible boundary. Skeptics called it fantasy, yet others pointed to strange anomalies. Satellite images with blurred polar regions, restricted travel zones in Antarctica, unexplained magnetic readings, disappearances of independent expeditions. They asked, what is being hidden? If Byrd had truly seen another world, why was it never mentioned again? In recent years, documents once classified have resurfaced through declassification and fuel a Freedom of Information Act requests, though none directly confirm Byrd's secret diary. Several contain odd entries, references to anomalous topographies. At the South Pole, mentions of energy disturbances, reports of flying objects intercepting military aircraft during Operation Hajampone document simply states, Subject Byrd reported visual phenomena inconsistent with known geography, filed. Under non-standard aviation events, what does that mean? Independent researchers now believe Byrd's knowledge was folded into black budget programs, secret projects hidden even from most military personnel. Technologies based on resonance, electromagnetic propulsion, and gravitational anomalies, all rumored to stem from non-terrestrial sources. In one theory, Byrd's discovery became the foundation for hidden science. Developed during the Cold War, the Ariane's warning about humanity's self-destruction was ignored. Worse, used, and the machine of secrecy kept turning. Asterisk.